What's shaking? Hey, I'm Rick Jordan, and today we're going all in. All right, I'm sure you've been to a lot of conferences, seminars, events like I have. And there's always people that are on stage, or there's podcasts I'm sure that you listen to also, because you're listening to one right now, that will give you the rules to success in business. And I've seen like the 5 steps or the 10 rules, the 10 commandments of business and all of that. I'm going to break it down real simple for you today and give you the only 3 meals, what the heck? I must be hungry or something. Wow, I just had sushi for lunch today too. And I was staring at these last 4 pieces. This is an aside story, but today we're going to talk about the 3 rules of success in business, the only 3 rules of success in business. But I should have finished those last 2 pieces of sushi from a roll. I got 3 rolls. They were delicious. And I started getting full. I'm like, I'm going to stop. But then there's 4 pieces of sushi left. And it's like, how do you leave just 4 pieces of sushi? You can't. So I ate 2 and I left 2. But apparently I'm still thinking about food. But I said the 3 meals of success. Maybe that's another episode sometime. All right, getting back to it. The only 3 rules of success in business. These are so stupid simple, and they're not even counterintuitive. That's the thing, is that they're actually good practices, and there's a lot more to business, obviously, than just 3 things. Okay, I need to preface this with that, but at the same time, because I'm sure you're thinking, whatever, Rick, there's more than 3 things I got to focus on. What about marketing? What about sales? What about controlling my expenses? What about finding the right tools? What about, having the right vendors? Of course, there's all that crap. Of course, there's all that crap. But a lot of that crap starts to figure things out for itself when you follow these 3 rules. Those are like subsets of the top line items that I'm giving you today. All right, rule number 1 of the only 3 rules to have success in business is focus on quality. Focus on quality, not your price. There's been years worth of research that goes into this. And especially if you're just starting out, when you focus on quality and not price, you are able to charge more and pay attention to less. I need you to grasp that today. You to grasp that today, because people will want to continue to do business with you literally just because it's you. When you focus on quality and not price. When you get into a sales engagement or you have a conversation with an existing customer, a retention conversation, and the only point of the conversation, the only direction or topic the conversation is going in is in price, you've already lost the sale or you've already lost the customer, hands down. But when you can focus on quality, you might use another synonymous word for this like value, because you can always stack value on. But when you focus on quality of the product or the service that you deliver, that's what causes people to buy from you and customers to stay with you. Price has to be a secondary or a third or tertiary concern. You're never going to get that out of somebody's head. I need to be clear about that. If you listen to these gurus, so-called gurus that say price doesn't matter, price always freaking matters. When you frame this right and you focus on the quality, price becomes less. Not the cost of the item that your customer is going to pay, but it becomes less in their minds, as it should be. Because what we're supposed to do when it comes to a product, or whether it comes to any kind of service that you might offer, you have to focus on the outcome. That outcome is all that matters. If you have a shitty outcome, people are going to base you upon price from this point on. If you have a great outcome because of the quality of your product or service, or because of the value you are adding with your product or service, then price becomes a secondary thing. It matters a lot less because you're focusing on quality. So what you need to do right now, I'm giving you an action step right in the moment. If you're starting to think the things, and I know that you are because I have, maybe you have, maybe you've gotten past this point, which is great, but I have thought this. It's like, what are people going to pay? And you take a look at the number, you're like, man, I would love it to cost this much. And this has nothing to do with with the cost of goods that go into it, how much it costs you to buy or anything like that. That's all important. You know, those are metrics that you can look at with a finance person. But what I'm talking about is, what's it worth? What is your quality worth? What is your value worth when you're setting the price for your product or your service? Because if you're focusing on the quality and the outcome, now all of a sudden the deliverables completely change. The attention on things that really matter actually come to the surface. Price matters, but the stuff that really matters comes to the surface. You know, there's 3 areas in life that are always going to make people money if you're getting into any kind of product or service. And remember these, right? It's health, wealth, and relationships. Those 3 things: health, wealth, and relationships. So we'll take one of those and give you an example on this, right? Let's pretend we're gonna say it's health, okay? We've had this big craze around semaglutide, which is Ozempic, Wegovy. There's also Mounjaro, I think it's pronounced. It's the weight loss medication that was actually designed for diabetes, for diabetics in the first place. You can give yourself injections. It slows the process of the food digesting in your stomach, slows it down so you feel fuller longer. It also releases a synthetic hormone into your body to make you feel full and eat less. It's actually quite a brilliant thing, and it's a peptide. You know, it is a pharmaceutical, but it's not like a chemical. It's a peptide. It's quite groundbreaking with this stuff. You know, but here's the thing. There's such a craze for this stuff because the price has not mattered to people who want to drop weight. It just hasn't. That's the outcome. And this thing has shown results, and the quality of it is absolutely insane. Imagine if you went on this and like, oh, I only lost 4 pounds, right? But hey, you know what? Or maybe you got an alternative, because this stuff can cost as much. I don't care what you're looking at, because there's compound pharmacies that are selling this stuff for less right now, that some, you know, like med spas are delivering this injection for a lot less price. But if you go with the OG, with Ozempic or with Wegovy, if you go with one of those 2 things, it's around $1,200 a month, $1,200 a month. It's a lot of dough for this thing. But when you look at the results, I'm like, yeah, our average patient over 6 months is dropping like 20 plus pounds. Like, oh my God, I'm in. All of a sudden, it doesn't matter because they focus on the quality of the product and what the outcome is. And some of these things from the compound pharmacies are diluted. They don't provide the same types of results, and people are losing a lot less weight. And that's because they sacrifice the quality to focus on price. So people who are saying, yeah, price matters, but this is the thing. It's like, if they want the outcome that you're delivering because you're focusing on quality, they are going to figure out a way how to pay for it. If somebody wants something bad enough because the quality is that good and it can completely change their life in whatever it is, they're going to find a way to pay for it. That's because you focus on the quality. Price, it's not that it doesn't matter, it just becomes a secondary thing. And it becomes not it's too expensive thing. It becomes, how do I do this? The conversation in the customer's mind changes when they see the quality that your product or service delivers. All right, number 2 of the 3 rules to success in business, the only 3 rules to success in business, is focus on revenue generation, not your costs. You can hire people, right? But when you're looking at the quality of things, there's things like tools and vendors and all that stuff that are going to be more expensive. They just are, period. But the thing is that everybody around you is going to be able to contribute to this. Everybody that works for you, at some point in time when you grow enough, you can hire a finance person to work on your costs. As long as they can find the same thing for less, that's good. Maybe they can negotiate better deals, because if you're focusing on something like revenue generation, and that's the only thing that you're focusing on rather than your costs, you can continue to post more revenue, and now you have to buy more supplies, whether it's to make your product or deliver your service. Now you have buying power because you're buying more in bulk. You can actually just naturally get your crap, your supplies, your materials for less money because you're buying more of it, because you're delivering more, because you're selling more, because you're making more money. Focus on your revenue generation, not your costs. So many people get tied up in this stuff and like, oh, I got to save money here. I got to save. Oh my God, I heard this so much through the freaking pandemic. I haven't brought that up, the pandemic or COVID, a long time on this show, but I heard that so much. People were freaking out and saying, oh, we got all these tools. We got to cut costs. We got to pull back. We got to conserve cash. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is the time to drive forward. That's why I've pushed forward and why I've been able to get to where I'm at and complete an acquisition in the company, continue to grow, continue to look for more acquisitions, continue to move towards listing reach out on a public exchange, continue to post up more revenue and put more cash in the bank than I've ever seen in my life because I focused on fucking revenue, not the stupid costs. I hope you're picking up my energy today because this one really gets me going. Revenue is your best friend. Costs are just what they are. Have somebody else come in and figure that crap out. After you're doing your job and posting more numbers to the board, that's your job. Put more up on the board. All right, rule number 3 in the only 3 rules to success that matter is dual rules number 1 and number 2. That's right. Number 3 is just do the first 2. It's that simple. Take this out because your bank account's going to grow with these things. Your relationships are going to flourish. You're going to be able to do things, see things, have things that you never even thought possible. And all that other minutia will just work itself out when you do these 2 things.